Hi, thanks for joining us here today for your latest Hurricane Tracker app video update reported Wednesday, August 29th at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Well, we have a couple of tropical waves we are monitoring here over the Atlantic Basin. We first have a tropical wave here over the central Atlantic. We're giving this system about a 30% chance of development during the next 5 days as it pushes off towards the west. It is located about 1,200 miles east of the Lesser Antilles, and it's not really in a favorable environment for intensification at this point, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. We have a vigorous tropical wave here that'll be moving off of the coast of Africa within the next 24 hours, and we're giving that system about a 40% chance as it pushes off towards the west or the west-northwest. Taking a closer look at the wave over the central Atlantic, you can see quite a bit of thunderstorm activity with it today as compared to recent days. And if you look closely, you'll see it does have a broad cyclonic circulation here. And the cloud tops are being blown off from the southwest to the northeast as it is facing some upper level wind shear. Put this into motion a couple more times. So you can see the counterclockwise flow here, and then the tops of the thunderstorms being sheared off to the northeast. There's an upper level trough located here over the central Atlantic Ocean, and again we've got a southwest northeast vertical wind shear above the system, and between the system and the Lesser Antilles there's quite a bit of dry air that the system is going to have to move through, so it's not really in a favorable environment to develop. If this system were to develop, we don't believe it would happen until early next week once it reaches about 60 degrees west longitude and gets here in about the western Atlantic where the waters are warmer and there could be less wind shear. So we don't think this is anything of imminent threat that will be developing soon, but we do think it needs to be closely watched next week as it moves here into the western Atlantic. What are the computer models saying? Well, first, the GFS model is not showing any development. The other reliable model, which is good at picking up new storm development, is the ECMWF, the Euro model. The last couple of days it's been showing development, but today in the afternoon 12Z run it has lost a tropical depression, and it's just showing a strong tropical wave here east of Puerto Rico next week. On the other side of the coin, we have the unusually bullish CMC Canadian model that likes to develop everything, and it's showing a developing hurricane here north of Puerto Rico next week, and it eventually moves it north and east out to sea. Right now at this point, if this wave does develop next week here in the western Atlantic, it's way too early to tell if it would impact the Bahamas or Florida or the east coast of the United States, as the steering factors are very hard to forecast or predict this far out. So just something we're going to be watching as it pushes off towards the west. We also have the upward pulse of the MJO, the Madden-Julian Oscillation, which helps thunderstorm growth in the atmosphere. The center of that pulse is located over the eastern Pacific. It will be moving off towards the east into the western Atlantic and the central Atlantic by the time we get into next week. So a westward moving strong tropical wave and an eastward moving pulse of the MJO could meet up together and potentially help the storm develop, but we'll just have to wait and see if that happens. Over here on the coast of Africa, the Saharan air dust layer, the dust that comes off the coast of Africa, is looking pretty weak at this point, so that's not going to be a factor in development. And we see quite a bit of low-level spin and vorticity associated with the wave here that's coming off the coast of Africa. And here's an animated look at the wave and its counterclockwise circulation there. We have another circulation beginning to take shape here southwest of Africa. This one's a little lower in latitude, but it may need to be watched. Then we have an even stronger tropical wave here, still inland over the African continent. Should be moving off sometime this weekend or early next week. So this is the time of year we do expect the African wave train, as they call it, to really start to heat up. But we do believe that over the next 1 to 2 weeks, we're going to see a couple of these tropical waves likely develop, as it's very moist over here in the eastern Atlantic. There's not really a lot of dry air. So as each day goes by, the atmosphere is becoming more and more favorable for development, and it's just a matter of time before one of these strong tropical waves eventually does develop. But it looks like we're going to end the August with one of the slowest August probably the slowest August in any hurricane season on record if the tropical wave here over the central Atlantic does not develop. So good news for you folks that live on the coast, but we do expect September to really pick up in activity here over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And we could have a late season into mid-October as the waters out there are still very warm and above average actually in a lot of locations. So a lot to watch here over the coming weeks. We'll be here to keep you updated. If you'd like to grab the Hurricane Tracker app, it is available at www.hurtracker.com. Thanks so much for watching and hope you have a great evening.